First, the real world with Lee Anderson. And as we've discussed earlier tonight, Keir Starmer has set out his plans for government today at the Labour Party conference, concluding his speech with a special appeal to Tory voters.
So if you are a Conservative voter who despairs of this, if you look in horror at the descent of your party into the murky waters of populism and conspiracy, with no argument for economic change, if you feel our country needs a party that can serve, that fights for our union, our environment, the rule of law, family life, the careful bond between this generation and the next, then let me tell you, Britain already has one, and you can join it. It's this Labour Party.
Now, Lee, Rachel Reeves's spending plans are modest at best. Clearly, Tony Blair is starting to, have some influence on the leadership of the Labour Party. They've shifted to the right. Are they a threat to the Tories?
They're always a threat, the Labour Party are. They're a threat to this country, Mark. Look, I listened to Rachel early on. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to Sir Keir's speech earlier on. But he thinks it's in the bag. He's getting a little bit cocky. He's a little bit smug. And he's taking the British public for granted at the moment. There was no substance in there. My colleagues have told me today. I was looking at the press snippets after his speech. Nothing in there of any substance at all.
1.5 million homes, tech colleges for young people to get skills.
Well, look, I mean, this is a cut and paste of what Michael Gove was saying back in July, on July the 24th.
Green Revolution?
Yeah, I mean, Gove and our government was saying this back in July. It's a cut and paste. He's got no new ideas. The British public, I knock doors every week, Mark, in Ashfield, and they say they are grumpy with the Conservative Party, obviously, after 13 years. But there's no love for Starmer at all. They're not rushing back to vote for Labour. The first-time Tory voters are not going back to Labour at all. They're grumpy with us, as I keep saying. But like I say, no love for Starmer.
But
they don't trust him.
What you heard from Starmer today, there was nothing in there that would frighten the horses. And that is surely, therefore, demonstrates he could do a Tony Blair, because it was Tony Blair who got Tory voters to support him in 1997.
Yeah, but listen,
why can't Starmer do it second time around?
But listen, I mean, back in 97, Blair had some good policies. The minimum wage was a killer. It was a killer. He was doubling people's wages overnight. He had giants in his shadow cabinet. He had Alistair Darling. He had Gordon Brown. He had some Robin Cook. He had Jack Straw. He had these big heavyweight politicians.
Big players, yeah.
Big players who you could see automatically they could slot into being a cabinet straight away. Who's he got now? He's got Angela Rayner. He's got Anna Eagle. He's got John Ashworth. These are jokes.
Well, Rachel Reeves with the background in the Bank of England, an economist.
Well, she has
good credentials.
Well, you knock on any door in Ashfield and ask people who Rachel Reeves is. They haven't had a clue who Rachel Reeves is. But, I mean, like I say before, Blair had good policies. He had great politicians behind him who could just drop into that slot. I mean, Starmer's got nothing. All he's got is himself. I mean, look at Lammy. I mean, it's a laughing stock. You knock on doors in Ashfield, David Lammy is an absolute laughing stock.
Why?
Well, he is. I mean, he comes across as anti-British. He won't let the Brexit argument finish. He wants to rejoin the EU. Every single word he mutters lately is about rejoining the EU. I mean, people in Ashfield and the Red Wall are furious about that.
Can you call him anti-British? I mean, he's a proud Londoner. I think he's a Spurs fan. You know what I mean? He's hardly anti-British.
Well, I say he's anti-Brexit. I mean, probably a poor choice of words there. But, every time he chimes up on, whether it's on GB News or LBC or wherever he is, it's anti-Brexit. He refuses to accept the democratic will of the British people.
Well, of course, he did say he wants to date the EU again, and I know that you'd be swiping left, not right.
Listen, date, what does that mean? Is he on Tinder? Is he on some sort of dating app? Look, he needs to get a grip. I mean, look, I wish he'd come and stand against me in Ashfield. This David Lammy character. He's all right in London and the places like this, but come to the real world, which is the north, which is the Red Wall seats, stand against people like me, he wouldn't have a prayer. Absolutely.
Well, I guess he represents quite a challenged part of London. It's not exactly.
Look, I learned very early on when I got to Parliament. People used to say to me, "How do you know which way to vote?" And I used to say to them, "Look which voting lobby David Lammy's going in, and go in the other one." And then if you do that, you've got it right.
Listen, we must get David Lammy on, and maybe a ding-dong between the two of you would be a great thing, great telly. Back to Blair. Is a vote for Starmer a vote for Blair? Will Blair be the backseat driver?
Well, I think he will, because Blair's been sniffing about now for the past few months, past few years. he seems to be the driving force behind the Labour Party at the moment. He will not go away. He's like a bad political smell. You know, I think Starmer is weak. He was very weak indeed. I think his shadow cabinet is weak. And they're looking for guidance. They're looking for some sort of leadership from Blair. Blair needs to go away. He's caused enough problems in this world as it is. Look at the Iraq war. I can never forgive him for that. And I think, if Sir Keir Starmer needs to be his own man. And I think the British public are looking at him now and seeing Blair in the background and thinking, you know what, he's not his own man. He's being led by Blair.
You were, of course, a Labour man yourself. Yeah. Why did you leave?
Well, there was a couple of things, really. There was Corbyn, there was Brexit, and there was Boris. But Boris was a big draw for me. But it was that the Labour Party is supposed to represent the working class. But we were knocking on doors in 2017 during the general election. We were getting chased off the street by people who were very, very angry with us. These were health workers. These were veterans who could not stand Jeremy Corbyn. They were literally chasing us off the street, calling us traitors. And you know what? I thought to myself, this Labour Party is not the party for me. Join the Tory party, could not have been happier, and I'm doing this job.
But what about last week? Was it awake compared to the Labour Party conference? I'm told that the atmosphere is buzzing in Liverpool this week, whereas it was like a morgue, wasn't it, last week in Manchester?
What a load of rubbish that is. I mean, I was at the Tory conference last week. It was a lot better than last year. Very positive. Lots of young people there. Listen, if you think it's buzzing at a Labour conference, really, you need to get out more, Mark. You really do. I mean, I've seen it today. The Tory conference was pretty good. We had a tough time last year. We've had a tough 12 months. But last Sunday, lots of young people there, enthusiastic. It's not over. It's all to play for.
All right. So you think that Rishi Sunak can win the next election?
Definitely.
And you've not had a drink tonight?
I've had a few.
OK. I rest my case. Listen, let me tell you that our coverage, of course, of both conferences has been fantastic. Well done to all my colleagues. And let me tell you that we were surprised by a fleeting cameo appearance from Peter Mandelson, the new Labour guru, of course. Take a watch of this.
I want GB News to keep going. They're stirring the pot. They're creating divisions in the Conservative Party.
We're doing a much better job than that.
They're undoing the Conservative Party. And very, very timely it is too.
Well, good on you, Peter Mandelson, and well done to Andrew Pearce for that exclusive. So, Peter Mandelson, the architect of New Labour, wants GB News to keep on going.
Well, he's a wise man. Isn't he, Mark? Look,
although he says it's because this channel is splitting the Tory party. That's what he says.
I don't think it is. Look, I mean, a lot of my friends and family and colleagues watch the GB News. The audience is growing every week.
Correct.
And I go to different associations.
You've given us a bump.
Yes, I go to different associations every Friday and speak to members. I've spoken to about 50 associations over the last year. That's, probably about 20 odd, thousands and thousands of people I speak to. They all watch GB News because they're getting their dose of common sense, they're getting politics and a bit of entertainment as well.
Lee, you do need a change of government every so often. So 13 years of Tory rule, time for a change, just for our democracy, surely.
Well, Rishi's badged himself as the Prime Minister of Change over the past few weeks, and I think he is. He's got a plan. He's got his 5-point plan. Look, if Starmer gets in next year...
OK.
Get your passport sorted, Mark, and get out of the country.
That's, listen, can't argue with that. There was a barbed comment from Keir Starmer, which is his job. He's leader of the opposition. He talked about how the Tories had descended into populism and conspiracy. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I think it's a bit rich coming from Sir Keir Starmer. Every single bandwagon at the moment he seems to be leaping on. He's the populist leader at the moment. He will say anything and do anything to get into number 10. Populism, what does that mean, Mark? It means saying the things that the British public want. There's nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
Can I congratulate you on a very smart haircut, by the way?
Thank you. Short back and sides, £8.
There you go. Worth every penny. As are you. Lee, we'll catch up soon. And my thanks to Lee Anderson.